In this video, I will reveal the new simple strategies that we have used with busy sports academy directors to reduce the administrative work by 80% and increase their revenues by 20 to 75%. And we did this without them having to do any of the legwork themselves and without them having to hire and train an office assistant. And here's a screenshot of one of the academies that we work with who grew their revenues by 75% quarter over quarter. As you can see here on the screenshot, from January to March of last year, 2023, the revenues were about $25,000. After working with us, they were able to grow their revenues to $44,000, almost $45,000 in just 1 month. And we're doing this by implementing our concept called the 3Ps, which I'm going to cover in depth in this video. Now, this might be quite different from the common business management methods you've heard of before because of how we strategically structure the key pieces of your business so that you can continuously grow your revenues while spending less time on administrative work. As you can see, this can be implemented quickly and provide you with not only a solid framework to run and grow your business, but also with the tools and people to do so cost effectively. Now, another academy that we work with went from making about $110,000 a year to about $482,000. And that's in 1 year. That's how much they grew in just 1 year. Now, that is a 339% growth. And this is not even something that we can advertise because it's so unreal, but these are real results we're seeing. Now, who here would like the Sport Academy to experience this kind of growth? I would. My name is Lil Krukrabo. I'm the founder of Timmy Software. I'm a former Division I tennis player, a tennis coach, a former tennis academy director, and a mom. I love working with tennis directors because I can relate to them on so many levels. As a business owner, as a player, as a coach, a mom with kids in tennis, and understanding those dynamics helps produce better business decisions. So when I work with tennis directors, we solve problems by looking at them from all those important lenses, and that's how we provide so much value to their clients and their bottom line. So it was during my time as a tennis director that I got exposed to some of the inefficiencies that were happening when it came to managing academies. So for years, I've watched my friends and fellow tennis directors struggle to receive registrations, organize their payments, communicate with their parents, pull reports to know how much their business is doing, or just keeping up with new leads. Then they will spend hours on court teaching just to come home to tons of emails, missed calls, missed sales opportunities, and trying to manage the administrative work plus teaching and handling their coaches. All of that became very hard, and their business certainly suffered. So they were really great at teaching and inspiring the kids, but they struggle with running the business side of their academy. So I decided to find a solution for this, to find a way for tennis directors to shine at what they are good at and allow people, processes, and programs to make them shine in the areas of their business where they may struggle. And that's how Timmy was born. Now, since launching the system and providing business consulting to many academies in the US and around the world, I've been able to help busy tennis academy directors reduce their admin work by 80% and increase their revenues by 20 to 75% or even 339%. And through our software, academies have processed over $30 million in classes, camps, and all kinds of registrations. And I'm on a mission to help coaches spend less time managing and more time doing what they love. The strategies that I'm about to cover in depth in these videos come from years of experience working with different types of academies globally. We've worked with academies that are held at private clubs, homeowner associations, parks, you name it. And our clients have single locations and multiple locations. So as we work with different academies, we learn the different things that they do, different challenges that they have, and we provide solutions. And then we generalize those solutions across our clients, our systems, our processes, and that's how we constantly improve. Now, before I get into the details of exactly what we do, let's hear a little bit about what other academies are saying. So here we have Aaron. He's been working with us for over 10 years now, and he's the owner of the Silicon Valley Tennis Academy and also Benchmark Tennis Academy. And he just had some great words to say about us. But fundamentally, we care. We care about every single tennis academy, every single director we work with. We want you to be successful. We want you to do less work, and we want you to be able to achieve your goals faster. So this is what Aaron has been able to experience working with us, where he grew his revenues by 20% the first few months we worked with him, and it just kept growing after that. And you can kind of read through here to see what he had to say about us. Just another amazing person that we work with is Craig Johnson, the director of the junior tennis program at the Newport Beach Tennis Club. And this is what he had to say about us. He has also been working with us for over 12 years now, and he's really awesome. We really enjoy working with him. Since working with us, he's been able to grow his programs exponentially. And I mean, we're talking millions of dollars with 7 to 10 courts. And again, he's amazing. He does a really good job at his programs. And we've been able to really help him on the admin side, on the registration side, to really take his programs to another level. And one more person here is our friend Jason. Jason Senki is the director of a high performance tennis academy in Hong Kong. And he has also been working with us for about 10 years. And he had some of the same challenges that the other two directors had before. Too much admin work, not enough time, need a better system. And that's when we stepped in and we're able to help him out. And you can kind of go through the testimonials here. And these are just some examples of what people are saying about us. So why do you need this guide? Let's look at the old way of running programs versus the new way. Now, we are living right now in the Amazon shopping kind of age where everybody wants instant gratification. It's not just our kids, but us as parents, everybody, we want to be able to book and pay for what we want quickly and get answers to our questions speedily. We just want things now. So when you're providing amazing lessons out there on the court, how are you allowing your clients to find you, book and pay for your classes, and how you're communicating with them? Are you still using outdated PDF or Google Forms for registrations that just give you so much admin work while making it harder for your clients to book and pay? Or are you using modern technology and processes to hack your admin work, get paid faster, and grow your programs? We also know that systems alone cannot do everything for you. You still need people for tasks such as responding to your phone calls, your emails, booking students, moving from class to another, refunds, credit tracking, attendance, and all that admin work that you actually need to do. So are you still doing all this tedious, boring admin work yourself, or are you paying a lot for it? Have you found a way to hack it so that you don't have to do all the work? You don't have to hire and train somebody, and you certainly don't have to pay so much for the help that you need. So how do we get that solved? Now, before diving into the solutions, let's talk a little bit about the cost of admin work. We already know that it's no fun doing all that admin work. It's boring, it's tedious, it's time consuming, but it's also costing you money. From our research, tennis academy directors reported wasting at least 10 hours a week on admin work, sometimes even more, but we counted at least 10 hours. And by wasting, we mean like doing stuff that you feel like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't be doing this. It's not the essential stuff like paying your staff and critical stuff. Wasting is like extra hours that you shouldn't be spending. So on average, a director makes about $100 an hour teaching. So that's typically the proxy that we use to value their time. So if you calculate 520 hours a year times 100, that's $52,000 that you have wasted on administrative work. And that's money that you could have used somewhere else to grow your programs or to hire new people. So hiring an administrative assistant is not easy because it will cost you over $40,000 a year, and it's really hard to find and train the right person. And most of the times, directors don't even want to do it because training somebody is not always easy, right? Transferring that knowledge to somebody else, if they leave, you have to start over. And it can be scary because first of all, you don't have time, then you have to worry about training and somebody leaving. So many directors end up being a little bit stuck between not having the time to do it themselves and not having the time to hire or train somebody. So they're kind of like in the middle, in the dreaded, the forbidden no man's land. Luckily, we do have a way around that. But again, let's talk a little bit about your business. Let's make sure we understand all the aspects of your business here. We understand that your business is more than just coaching. You spend time on your services, which will include creating your classes, your camps, promoting them, chasing payments, handling refunds and credits, sending invoices, creating financial reports. This is part of your duty as an academy directors. You also have to manage your coaches, right? You need to check their schedule, which classes are they coaching, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, that they're following the ethics and the brand that you're trying to share with the community. You also want to track their hours, pay them, communicate with them, and just keep everybody on the same page. And then you have to deal with your students. You want to know who is in which roster, how the rosters are organized to make sure that your classes are not overbooked and that you have the right mix of kids in each class, the right level, right? So you want to make sure that you have enough kids in each class so you don't overstaff or understaff. You want to do things such as tracking attendance, making sure that everybody who's showing up has paid. You probably also want to track student performance depending on how critical that is to your type of academy. You want to manage your makeups and cancellation and just overall your student communication. Next to that, probably the most important stakeholder here will be your parents because they pay. So we want to keep them happy, right? So how do you remind them of when classes are starting, or if you have new camps coming up, specialty camps, spring break, summer holiday camps, how do you communicate that with them efficiently? You want to be able to share with them maybe how the kids are doing and then communicate that process with them. If they're asking to move their kids from one level to another, how do you do that? So all that communication that happens with parents, you have to deal with that, or somebody on your team has to do that. So when we work with many tennis directors, they tend to feel like this guy over here, just super overwhelmed by juggling so many things. It definitely can get overwhelming. And our goal is to help you go from this guy over here just doing everything, doing a lot of manual admin work, spending too much time in his business instead of on his business, or maybe just he should be spending time relaxing, right? Or with family. So we want to help you go from this guy over here to this other one over here, which will be a place where you're much more zen. And we do that by automating your admin work and also delegating some of the work, which will lead to reduce administrative work for you and increased the revenues because we have improved the efficiency and client communication for your business. Now, this is a critical part of our 3Ps framework and other strategies that we have implemented with our clients. Now, to illustrate this, let's go through a quick case study to illustrate the 3Ps here. We saw Aaron earlier, so this is just a quick story about how we were able to help him. Before he came to us, he had a basic online form on his website, and which means it's like a Google form or a Jot form or just one of those simple forms where you put in the information. And when it gets sent, the admin will receive an email notification with the entries, and then they have to kind of start putting that in pieces of information in different trackers so they can see everybody who has paid, create rosters, attendance, and things like that. So that's what he was using. So it was decent at getting some initial information in, but it wasn't an automated system, meaning that, again, he had to manually create his rosters, his report, his payment history, his attendance records, and because that wasn't done automatically through those forms right when the client booked. So this means that he was still spending a lot of time on these manual processes, and it was just really dragging him. Another problem was that he will receive the information with the form, and then he will send somebody to pay via PayPal. Then he will have to look at his PayPal account and the registration to make sure that they matched. And it was just really consuming. And so just registration and payment alone were very challenging for him. But he was also doing the customer service himself. Responding to parents' questions, booking people, moving them from class to class, and all these other activities that we discussed earlier. So typically, he's more of a let me get on court, teach and help the kids. And the back office work was really not in his forte, was not his forte at all. And because of the processes that he was using, his cash collection was slow. He often did not return the parents' calls and emails on time. And he was missing payments. Sometimes people would show up and not pay. So chasing payments wasn't good for him. He hated doing it. So he just lost a bunch of money like that. And he also had missed sales opportunities because people who were interested in the program were not able to always get a hold of him right when they were interested. So that was also a big hurdle. So it took him hours of time and frustration to run his academy. So another thing that he struggled with was finding the right assistant or somebody who understood his programs, understood how tennis works, how tennis academies work, how you talk to people, how you help them, and also somebody who can help a parent decide between a beginner class or an advanced class, between what does it mean to have a UTR 1, UTR 2, and that was a big thing for him. So first, he was not able to find that assistant, and then he wasn't sure how to really train a person if he found them. He didn't have like the right processes in place to, again, transfer that knowledge, which was a challenge that we identified earlier. So it was pretty stressful because he didn't want to do the admin work, but he also did not know how to get help. Again, back in that no man's land. So after implementing our strategies here at his academy, um, we really came in. We understood tennis and we understood his business processes or overall business processes. We understood customer service efficiency, so we're able to just jump in and take that work right off his plate. As we did that, he was able to reduce his academy's admin work by 90%. Now Aaron loves to travel, and so knowing that his academy is well taken care of, he's able to do that and really enjoy his travel. He has wonderful coaches on court, and he has a wonderful admin staff taking care of his parents, his students, and things like that. So with our systems and processes, Aaron was able to increase his cash collection by 95%. We automated that process for him, and he also noticed that there was an increase in revenues by 20% just after the first few months after we put the system together. And since working with us, his revenue just kept growing. And it's really just because he was more efficient, he was making it a lot easier for parents to find and book what they wanted. So people were booking a lot more. So here we allow people to allow people to see what they book and pay right away. So again, that was a huge game changer for him. Um, and so then after implementing these strategies uh, and him growing his revenues, he did that without any advertising or any promotion. I mean, really all we did was tweaking a few things and boom. So he also noticed that after working with us, his parents were happier. They were able to talk to somebody immediately to get help. They were able to talk to a friendly voice, to move classes around, let us know that they will be absent, and they just felt like they had much better customer service, and that increased their satisfaction. And then because of that, Aaron is doing so well that his classes are full and he's pretty much not doing any admin work, virtually none, except for maybe paying his coaches and then deciding how much to charge for the next camp or the next season and deciding on the dates and things like that. Needless to say, Aaron is super happy with the solution we provide, and he's so happy with that solution that recently he joined another academy called Benchmark Tennis, and he immediately asked us to help. And when we did that, we right away implemented our processes and were able to help that academy increase their revenues by 75% in just 1 month. So now that we have gone through, the cost of inefficient admin work, the struggle, your business, and we've also gone through a case study. Now, let's actually get deep into what exactly we do to help tennis directors reduce their administrative work by 80% and increase their revenues by 20 to 75%. And you can do the same. So now let's go ahead and talk about those 5 strategies. The first one is the 3 Ps, which stands for people, process, and program. And the programs here means software. And it really helps you answer the question of who does what and when. Um, and we're going to get into more details of each strategy. The second one is strategic delegation. So even as you use software, you have people, you have systems, you really want to know, okay, how do I get other people to do work for me? And how do I make sure that I manage them well so we're all very successful? The third strategy is targeted staff training. So, how do you get your staff on board? How do you make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do? How do you track their progress? How do you measure their performance? We have some tips for that. The fourth strategy is upselling for max growth. We've noticed that some of the programs were not growing because people were not intentionally selling. Like coaches were not intentionally offering more private lessons or extra classes. So there are different strategies that you can have your coaches do to upsell your programs and your services and make you more money. The fifth strategy is easily maintain control of operations. So, obviously, when you have a team, you want to be able to know what they're doing and not micromanage, but just have an idea of what they're doing and to make sure you're aware of what's happening in your business so you can catch mistakes before they become a big problem. And then we also have a bonus tip that we call the 5 benefits of an efficient registration software, which goes over some features and benefit that you should be looking for if you're thinking about getting a proper registration system for your academy. So let's go ahead and dive into the details here. The first one is the three P's. Again, who, does, what, when, and how. Again, the three P stands for people, process, and programs. Understanding this three P's framework really helps you answer the question of who are the people that I serve? What processes do I have in place for my team to work well? And what are the systems or software that I use to empower my team to do their job well? This is the first step, and it will allow you to really think about your business critically and isolate your challenges and brainstorm on solutions. The way we do this, we usually begin by listing all of your people, your stakeholders, or your shareholders, if you want to say it that way, which will be your parents, your coaches, your students, your partners. Maybe you work with the club and there's a revenue share model there. Those will be people that we want to take into consideration when we establish our processes. So if we know that parents want to book fast and they want to be able to cancel classes and be a little bit flexible, you want to list that on this tracker that I will show you. We know coaches want to get paid on time. They want to teach more lessons. So you kind of just have to list all those different interests, and then that's going to help you. That's going to help guide you through to know, okay, how do we service those needs? What do I need to do to fulfill those needs, and or to fulfill those interests as much as possible? So the next thing is to be listing. The next thing is after you list your people and the interest, you want to add the processes that you use to manage those interests. For instance, if the parents want to register fast, is that Google form or that Jot form on your website going to give you the best, or going to give them the best experience? So you want to think about that. So that would not really match the interest of fulfilling that interest. So then, okay, how do we solve that? That means this process has to be changed, right? For you to move forward. And as you put this list together, you can list the different programs and software and systems that you use to facilitate the management of those processes and those people. Another example is your coaches. Again, they want to get paid fast. They probably want more private lessons? What do you do right now to track their hours, to make sure that they get paid on time, or to get them more lessons? Again, list all of that out so you can really see your business not just from, oh, how can I make more money, but what are all the people that I service? What are my challenges? What am I doing right now? And how can I make this better? So the chart below here, it's a little bit of an example of that. Here we have our people, then we have our process, our program, which is software. The people, you can talk about your parents. Are they demanding? Are they chill? Depending on the kind of parents you have to put processes in place to service them. And then we talked about coaches earlier. If you have an admin helping you, how are they doing? Are they responding to those emails and text messages on time? Are they calling people back right away? You want to just list people that you deal with, the different challenges that you have, and maybe some solutions that you can think of while you're thinking about your business critically. What is the structure of your classes? Is it monthly? Is it every 12 weeks? How many weeks before the beginning of the next session do you send out an email to promote the new session, right? How often do you promote your program? Is it just like once every blue moon, or do you have a regulated cadence for that? So again, you want to think about that. How are your classes? Are they typically full? Or are you having a hard time to fill them up? Then maybe it's time to throw in a discount or a promo, or something to really bring people over. But if they are pretty full, then you want to maybe implement priority registration, restrict the number of people who can register, to really make people appreciate that, hey, they have a special spot. So depending on how your classes are, there are going to be different processes and different systems that you use to manage that. So when it comes to your program and your software, you want to check how do you set up your classes and camps? How do you do that yourself? Is somebody doing it for you? Is it a Google form? Is it a PDF form? Is it a Jot form? Or is it a registration software? If it's a registration software, is it automated, easy for you to use and for your parents? How do you collect your payments? Do you get the form in one place and then send them to PayPal for payments, and then you have to reconcile? Those are different things that you want to identify again, so you're pretty clear on what you're currently doing and how you can improve. So ideally, this is what the three P's will look like for your academy. So when it comes to people, you will want to find good people to help you. You want them to be proactive, fully trained assistants, whether they are on court with you or they're virtual. They should be able to understand how your academy works, your different programs, and how they can help parents navigate the different things that you offer, and they will be able to book your parents and collect payments. They need to have really good customer service skills, being able to properly greet your parents, ask them how they're doing, inquire of the information that they want, and provide the help that they need. So those are the kind of things to look for when it comes to people. You probably also want to have business partners or business consultant that you can talk to about some of the challenges that you have. If you're trying to open a new location, or if you're trying to set up a new program, maybe change your pricing. How do you go about doing that in a way that is beneficial and less disruptive to your academy? So talking to somebody about those different part of your business can be super helpful. Another important type of people you want to have is to have access to an experienced marketing team, somebody who can help you with your positioning, your programs, promoting your programs, and things like that. So that you want to be essentially surrounded by quality people to help you grow your business. The next thing is processes. You want to install proven procedures that would maximize your client success and retention, which means that you want to have procedures where when people call you, they will get to somebody right away, or they will have a callback within that day, or at least within a few, like an hour or a few minutes. So essentially, people will be contacted back really quickly when they express interest in your program. And you want that person to answer questions and make sure that the parents is set and that they have registered if that's what they were trying to do. Now, if your parents or anybody has an issue, they should be able to reach out to somebody quickly. So you want to just put those processes in place. If this happened, then this is how we do things. So have that written will be very important, because you want to make sure that whoever you're working with knows what they're doing and they're following the procedures that you want in place for your business. Another thing also that directors want to do is to simplify the process, which means you want to put in place processes to simplify your office work and increase your revenues. So how do you organize your payments? How do you track attendance? Who does it? Is it your coaches? Is it a central person like a roaming coach or a roaming manager who goes around all your courts and take attendance? So you want to have, again, that process down so everybody knows what they're doing. And then when it comes to your business operation, you want to have templates that you can use to either create reports, pay your coaches, and just really manage your business a little more efficiently. Now, when it comes to programs, which is software, what I've found is it can be pretty hard to find one system that does everything you want to do as a business, and it's easy to use and it's cost effective. I found that to be actually really hard to come around. So what we've done for our academies and also for us internally as a company is that we have different systems that we use to manage different things. So we have our proprietary system, Timmy, that we use for registrations and payments, student management, attendance, giving credits and refunds and things like that. Then we have another system that we use to manage your coaches' hours and rates and payroll for payroll purposes. And if you're doing marketing or customer service or having people call and you want to text them and mass email them or easily have anybody on your team contact that person, there's another system that we use. So we found a system that work better for different things that we're trying to achieve, and then we put it together to help us operate your academy in the most efficient way possible. So if you've already heard enough information watching this video right now and you just simply want to take advantage of this unique opportunity, I recommend going below this video and booking a call to speak with our team. During this free discovery call, we can learn about your business, your challenges, your goals, and see if our strategies are a good fit for you. If you're unhappy or overwhelmed with how you run your academy right now, go ahead and book a call. You have nothing to lose. All right, let's move into our strategy number 2, which is strategic delegation of admin tasks. After you have determined your people, your process, your programs, and you understand what you need for each of those 3 P's, the next thing you want to do is to implement strategic delegation, right? So you want to delegate, for lack of a better word, strategically, meaning that you know who is doing what based on their skills and things like that. And it allows you to empower other people to help you so that you can focus on the most strategic part of your business. Things that I call, again, in your genius zone, such as opening a new location, hiring coaches, training high performing athletes, finding new partnerships, and things like that. So quite often when we work with tennis directors, they are overwhelmed by the work, but they still do it because they haven't found a good way to delegate that work. So what we do is we say, these are the things that only you can do. Maybe just paying your coaches, reporting to the club that you're working for, or maybe paying the rent on the courts that you have to pay rent. So key things that only you can do. And then let's see, what can the software help you do. So we just really find things that, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what my admin is going to do, this is what my system is going to do. If you do this well, this strategy will solve your biggest problem, which is, again, doing most of the work yourself, or finding somebody to really help you quickly. Now, below is a chart explaining how you can progressively delegate your admin work using either software, people, and eventually a combination of both. This chart here is called our 4 stages of transformation. As you go through your journey as a tennis director, if you're starting pretty small, you are going to be doing pretty much everything yourself. If you have less than 50 students, you can automate your registrations using a registration software, which is always recommended, no matter what. You want to automate that. But then you have to set up the programs and classes on that software. You have to handle proration, refunds, credits, do all the communication with your parents, take the phone calls, respond to emails, help with your coaches' hours. At that point, probably only maybe 1 coach if you only have 50 students. And then you have to do other off-court business tasks. Now, as you move over to this next level here, you probably want to have somebody else set up the programs for you, handle operational tasks such as prorating fees, class changes, what else? Refunds, attendance. But you will be communicating with your parents, like when the new registrations are opening. You'll still be taking phone calls, responding to emails. So you're getting a little bit of help, but you're still doing quite a bit yourself because you are still growing. Now, even though you have started little by little delegating some tasks, as you grow and get into that 100 active students monthly, you really want to have somebody else handle the day to day office work for you. So, software alone is not going to be enough in most cases. You need that human touch, that person who is going to be setting up programs, mass emailing your students, confirming your coaches' hours, probably maybe taking some emails off your plate. So again, if you're moving, you're moving some items off the list so that you're left with pretty much coaching student, responding to parents' emails, and maybe taking a few critical calls. Now, as you grow all the way to the platinum level, here, if you have more than 100 students, it gets pretty busy because people are coming in, there's more to manage. So you want to just focus on coaching your students, uh, growing your business, finding additional locations, and making sure that your program quality is top notch, or at least that it stays where it needs to be. And then you want to delegate all the other admin work to systems and people. So again, things like setting up classes, collecting payment, moving students, and all this admin work that we talked about. Obviously, you'll be working with the admin, communicating daily because they will probably need to confirm some things with you. But essentially, those are not your daily responsibilities. Those have been passed on, those have been strategically delegated to somebody else. So we at Timmy, we help our tennis directors go from this green zone over here all the way to the platinum level, where they really are just doing the most strategic, genius things for the business, knowing that all the small but necessary tasks are being handled correctly. So this concludes our tip number 2, which was a strategic delegation. And we're going to move to our tip number 3. Our tip number 3 is targeted staff training. And the first part will be to hire an admin if that's what you want to do. So here, I actually used to take phone calls and responding to emails and text messages for my tennis academies and other academies that I managed. Before going back to the tennis world, I worked as a financial consultant for Wells Fargo Investments, and they had an excellent customer service training. So my experience there and my love to serve people provided me with the foundation that I needed to become a great administrative assistant and to train others to become great as well. So, in my experience, I got quite familiar with how to respond to people, how to provide the right information, and also how to help find the best way possible to help people. When I could no longer support all my clients myself, I had to find an effective way to train other to train others to serve clients the way that I did. And that's when I was able to come up with the skills to interview, hire, train, and deploy administrative assistants to help tennis directors take that tedious work off their plate. So, after successfully training and placing admin assistants with many tennis academies, I have identified some key skills that make an academy executive assistant a game changer for your business. So, here are the key qualities that you should be looking for when hiring an admin. First, it goes without saying, you want to make sure that they have a basic understanding of how tennis works, how your operations work, so you don't have a ton of explaining to do. If you find somebody who has been an admin before or who has already been trained on how to be an admin for a tennis academy, that's already a plus because a lot of the information you don't have to explain again. So you want that person to be personable, friendly, have great customer service skills so they can delight and serve your clients. Obviously, as you talk to the person, you want to make sure that they're smiling and they're nice and they're polite and they're patient, so that when that interaction happens with your parents have a positive experience with your business, because now this person who is taking the phone call is going to be the first point of contact many times with your upcoming parents. So you want that first contact to be excellent, so that you're represented well, and so that the parent wants to actually come and try your classes. So that's super important. You really want to look for that amazing personality in an assistant. So when we interview assistants, when we hire at Timmy, we check and grade on 35 different criteria. Now, I don't need to go into all the details, but a few things that we check are thought organization. So I ask the potential assistant a multi-layer question, and I see how they construct their answer and if it makes sense. I do this because when speaking to me or to clients or to parents, they will need to construct their thoughts quickly and coherently so that they can produce a logical answer, essentially. So I check right away, do they have those skills? Another thing that I check is organizational and multitasking skills for very obvious reasons. Um, Being able to deal with administrative work, it's a lot. Sometimes you have a phone call, then a text message, then a report, then a booking. So staying organized and being able to multitask and not miss any critical task, it's really important. So I check for that. And I also check for self confidence, because some days are going to be hectic. Sometimes you're going to talk to parents that are not very nice, or some days are going to be stressful. So I want people to already feel pretty good about themselves, believe in themselves, their abilities. And those are usually the skills that I look for in a great assistant. In addition to that, I want to check the business skills. So you will want to check those business skills. So a lot of times you will be dealing with Excel or Word or maybe sometimes PowerPoint, but most of the time it's Excel and Microsoft Word. So you want that assistant to be already familiar with basic formula, basic accounting rules, so that they can pull reports for you, organize it, maybe give you some business insights. Maybe they will be able to say, hey, you know what, for this exact same camp last year, we had this many registration, but this time it's this many. Maybe it's an increase. Wonderful. What did we do? How do we do that again? Or maybe there's a decrease. What happened? How can we fix that? So being able to pull those business intelligence and organize it in a way that's easy for the director to follow, it's important. So those are skills that you should definitely be looking for. So um, that's about the main things here when it comes to hiring an administrative assistant. Actually, no. Another big thing that you want in your assistant is you want them to be creative and a forward thinker. Yes, you want a doer, but you also want a thinker, right? You want somebody who is going to say, oh, wow, summer camps or spring break camps are coming up in 6 weeks, but we don't have any emails sent out to our clients to let them know about it. Or maybe it's not even set up on the registration system to allow people to book. So you want that assistant to get familiar with your programs like that, so they can be proactive in helping you remember the things that you want to do for your business. So they can say, hey, let's go ahead and set up the camp. Let's go ahead and email people, remind people. Let's push maybe a discount if the registrations are coming slow. So you really want to look for somebody who can anticipate things for you and kind of just have you approve it or discuss, then approve. So you look for that, again, proactive thinker who can also do. All right, now let's go into our next tip here, which is still part of the tip number 3 that we call targeted staff training. But then this section is dedicated to managing your staff. So first you have to find them and hire them. Then you have to manage them. So how do we do that? Because everybody, as amazing as they can be, if you don't have good targeted training and a good way to manage them, they may not be as successful as they should. So a good player still needs great coaching in order to shine. The way we've done it with my team is or the way I've done it personally is after I've hired them, I deploy targeted training so the quality of the work is consistent and it remains at a high level. And then also it makes it easier as we're growing to know, okay, this is our process to manage the team. So here are some of the tips that we've used to train and manage our admins efficiently. First, you want to create what we call an SOP, which stands for a standard operating procedure, which is a writing, a document where you have your training manual, your procedures, your expectations, your metrics. Essentially, you're telling your admin, when you come in and somebody calls, this is how I want you to greet them. And this is how we ask questions to clarify what they're looking for. This is how we guide them through to help them choose the right class, the right program, and then we help them book. So you want to write down those procedures for your admin so that when you hire them, if you decide to do that, you will know exactly how to go about properly training them. And if you have to do that again, then the procedure it's already there. So, example, if for a particular class, a green dot class has if you have a green dot class that has a high demand, and you're being very selective as who to let in, you do want to let your admin know that. So if somebody is interested in that class, they could just contact then you have to approve them to get into that class and maybe schedule an interview, whatever your process might be. Again, that has to be documented and then shared with your assistant so that you guys are all on the same page. Another standard operating procedure that you can put in place is at the end of the day, you want them to send you a recap of what they have done that day. I want to know, for instance, how many people you've talked to, how many text messages were sent, how much money we have collected, and then anything that you need me to do. And we call that actionable items for the next day. By having your admin provide that report, what we call an EOD, which is an end of the day report, it allows them to really think about what are they doing during the day. And then it also allows you to know what they've done so you're in the loop so that weeks and months don't go by and you don't know what they're doing. Every day you get a message telling you how they're doing and also telling you what you need to do because some items will need your approval. So that's a procedure that's very important to have to really manage your staff more efficiently. All my assistants use this procedure internally with me and with the directors reserve, and that's how we make sure we can stay on task. Now, the next tip, as we've mentioned earlier, is you want to delegate your task progressively, and we're going to talk about that. As you're putting your procedures in place, your SOPs, your EOD, and sometimes even your EOW, which is your end of week report, you want to do so progressively so that your assistant doesn't feel overwhelmed. So you want to have a document where you have, okay, first day, first week, this is what we do. You don't want to obviously dump everything on one day. So you want to usually start with obviously understanding your culture, who you are, your brand, what you do. And then you want to move into setting up classes, collecting registration, tracking attendance. And then when they have a pretty good understanding of what you provide, who you are, your values, your style, Then you can move them into answering emails and text messages, and eventually move them into taking phone calls. So just really be progressive as you're training them to ensure that you have great success with limited initial frustration. Another important part of managing your staff here is to measure and review the most critical tasks that they do, such as emails, phone calls, text messages, registration amount, and things like that. So again, as I mentioned earlier, there's that end of the day report, but you also need to have a tracker where all of that data is added progressively. So you kind of know, okay, this is how things are going. So next item in managing a successful admin is to create a feedback template so they can update you on the task. When they send this to you at the end of the day, you will know, okay, this is what you've done, or this is what they've done, this is what they've struggled with. Maybe your client was irate that day. So just really, essentially, it's a tracker, so you can go back and see, last week, this is what happened. And this week, this is what's going on. So they know, hey, every day my boss is going to be checking on this periodically, or either every day or periodically they're going to be checking. So it just gives them that extra, I want to say, pressure to make sure that they are providing good value to you every day. It helps them be a little more focused and proactive, so that if you happen to check their work, they don't have a ton of explaining to do. All right. Another thing that's really helpful that we do with my team is to schedule regular meetings to check on their performance, to provide coaching, and also to answer their questions. Our assistants, they talk to our directors every day, so the feedback is pretty much daily. But typically once a week, there's more of a performance review. We kind of see, okay, how did things go? Do you have any questions? What is planned next week? Do you struggle with anything? And we also review calls and emails and text message and provide coaching. Okay, on this call, did you forgot to properly greet the client, you forgot to build rapport. On this email, you forgot to address every single question that the client had. So we do have those performance review that we have with our team. Now obviously you probably won't have time to manage exactly like that, but I would say at the beginning you want to do that to kind of set the right expectation and to make sure that your assistant is trained well. And then after that, as they're performing well, you can go ahead and not check as often. But I would say still about once a week, once a month, have a little check-in, just to make sure that. All right, let's move into our fourth tip strategy, which is upselling for max growth. What I found out working with many tennis directors is that there wasn't a system in place to encourage the coaches to upsell their services systematically. For instance, when I was coaching for a tennis academy, I had the most private lessons of all the staff. Um, we had 10 coaches, and I was doing the most private lessons in addition to my regular classes. And that's because I was consistently upselling. For instance, when I was teaching my classes, I identified a child who was trying but really lacked the skills and the experience to be where his friends were. And if that was the case, at the end of the class, I would talk to the parents, give them a report on the performance of the child, and say something like, "Hey, I know Joe is doing a really good job, and he just hasn't had many opportunity to practice, and I know he would like to move up with his friends, so I think he might need a little bit of help." What has been a good solution to help kids move up and be with their friends at a slightly higher level will be a few private lessons, so that we can work on the specific skills that they need, and help them build confidence so that they can have more fun and be with their friends at a higher level. Would you like to book a few lessons and see how that goes? And a lot of times I would get a yes. And that's how I was able to book so many private lessons. Another thing that I did was if I had a summer camp, I would encourage kids to invite a friend. I will say something like, "Hey, you had so much fun. Is there a friend that you would like to invite for next week of camp?" If they say, "Yeah, I have a friend Sophie and Catalina who would like to come," then when I talk to the parent at the end of the day, if I get a chance, I will say something like, "Hey, Daisy mentioned that Sophia and Catalina will be interested in doing tennis camp with her next week. Do you mind me reaching out to the mom and see if they want to join? I believe we have room for class next week." So a version of that. Sometimes it might be through email, but the point is I will offer. You will offer. They won't all say yes, but if you don't offer, there's not a chance for them to say yes, right? So just these are just the little things that I did systematically to help either get another lesson or have somebody add another week of camp, or maybe have somebody come with a friend to share private lessons, because it's really fun when you share with your friends, right? But what I found is many of the academies that we work with, they don't train their coaches to do that. And so there are some missed sales opportunities right there, especially if you have room for growth. I mean, sometimes coaches are very busy there, and there's not a lot of room. So in that case, okay, you don't really need this. But if you have classes that are not full, coaches that are not completely booked or almost completely booked for their private lessons, then this will be a really good practice to implement. So here are some of the specific strategies that we use to upsell, and we help our directors train their coaches to do this. We also help train the admin to do this when they talk to parents over the phone. To train your coaches here, you want to train them to seek to first, they have to recognize the opportunities to sell your services. Those opportunities will be like getting more private lessons from students in the classes, which I mentioned earlier. To get current private lessons to take more hours from you, especially when it comes to around high school tryouts or middle school tryouts. Those are good triggers to encourage students to say, "Hey, let's spend more time on that serve," right? Oh, yeah, exactly. You want to have your coach say, "Okay, you know what? As we're getting close to high school, um, talk to your students. Say, hey, do you want to spend more time fixing that forehand, right? So you can be a little more powerful. Do you want to spend a little bit of time working on that backhand so it's not such a weakness in your game?" So really encourage coaches to seek for that opportunity at the right time, and that usually gives good results. Later, they can go and talk to the parent. First, they talk to the kid just to kind of get a buy-in from the kid, then talk to the parent and say, "Hey, I was talking to Johnny, and he mentioned that he would like to improve his backhand. A few private lessons will really help focus on that backhand, so we can help him get ready for high school. Do you want to schedule a few lessons?" And that's really all you need. We can also help coaches to get kids to invite their friends to a class, obviously, if you have room. There are some scripts and strategies that you can use, but it's really just simple. "Hey, do you have any friends that will want to take the class with you?" And then you just talk to the parent and you say, "Hey, your son mentioned that his friend Billy wanted to take classes with them. We still have one spot available. Do you want to see if Billy wants to take lessons?" So it's really simple. Just really offer. And obviously, a lot of people will say no, but again, some people will say yes, and that's all you need. And if all your coaches are doing that, then you're getting more opportunities to upsell your services and increase your revenues. So it's just really putting them into that mindset. Another upselling strategies is we can get the staff to help parents book for more weeks of camps, especially if you're offering a multi-week discount, a volume discount, as we call it. This strategy works really well. So if you see a parent that is booking 1 week or 2 weeks, you can say, oh, hey, we have 10% off if you book 3 or more weeks of camp. Is there another week where you would like to have little Johnny or little Daisy come to tennis? And then you just see what happens. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, I want to take advantage of the discount, right? But they will not book an extra week if you don't offer. The same way we can get the coaches to upsell by listening to some cues. If a kid says, oh, yeah, this is my last week, you can say, oh, man, we'll miss you. Do you want to come back for another week of camp? I mean, you had so much fun, right? And if the kid says, yeah, I would love that, then you're going to talk to the parent or have the admin email or call the parent and say, hey, little Johnny had so much fun and mentioned that he wanted to come back for another week of camp. We have a room next week. Would you like to book him for this extra week of camp? I'm happy to do that over the phone if that works for you. And if they say, yeah, sure, then using your amazing registration system, you can go ahead and book and charge the card on file while you're talking to the parent. And that's how, again, you get more sales. So again, it's really just a matter of being intentional. Every academy is different, and each season can be different. One season you might be overbooked, so you don't really need to do that. But other seasons you might not have enough kids, so you really want to get your coaches to get into the habits of upselling, either getting more private lessons, getting kids to come to more classes. Maybe they're just doing 1 day a week and they can do 2 days a week. Get them to do more camps, right? Get them to bring their friends, get them to take advantage of a discount, get them to be ready before a high school tryout, a tournament. So those are just all different cues that you want to train your coaches to identify and act upon. And you'll see that you're going to be receiving more sales. All right, so that concludes our strategy number 4, and we're going to be moving to our last strategy, which we're going to discuss shortly. Strategy number 5 is, how do you easily maintain control of your operations, aka how do you run a smooth selling ship? This last strategy is to ensure that your 3 Ps, which are your people, process, and programs, are working efficiently, and you want to monitor and maintain control of what's happening in your business. So here are some of the tips that we have implemented that have helped directors successfully manage their staff. We mentioned that a little bit in a few tips earlier. You want to schedule those daily or weekly meetings to review the day or the week with your admin and plan for the big things. If you have a big tournament or a big camp or just a big thing you're working on, you want to have those regular meetings to make sure that all the pieces are set and that your admin and your team is ready to go. Having those weekly meetings will help you stay on top of things, essentially. And you want to make it pretty regular. So you want to do it maybe every Wednesday or Friday. Typically Mondays and Wednesdays are good because Monday is the beginning of the week to set up the tone. And then you can either do, Wednesday to see how things are going. So you still have time to course correct if needed for the rest of the week. So Mondays and Wednesdays are usually very good for those meetings, but you can essentially pick any day that you want, but the goal is to make it pretty consistent, to make it a standard operating procedure for you. And then if you're planning for anything big, that has to be on the agenda. You need to make sure that you have all the steps that you need in order to make that big event successful. If you need to contact a vendor, book a court, whatever it may be, let's make sure that during your regular meetings you have those tasks highlighted, written down, so that nothing falls through the cracks. Another strategy here is to set up a task tracker to make sure that everything that you need is being handled. We have a template that we use where essentially every time you ask your admin for something, we want them to put that into that tracker. And when it's done, they will mark it done and update you either immediately or at the end of the day. This is to make sure that everything is handled because we know as tennis directors, we can bombard our assistants with or our coaches with do this and do that. And we do this so that we don't forget ourselves, but it can get pretty overwhelming. So you do want to put that tracker in place so that either you put the task in or when you assign the task to your staff, they put that in and they mark it as done or they reassign it to you if they have a question or something that you need to approve. That's really, really important. Um, you, as we mentioned earlier, you want those EODs to be sent. Again, those are your end of the day report. So that again, I can't stress how important that is, but we already talked about that in an earlier tip. So this is just again one way to make sure that you are managing your staff, you're on top of things, you're really helping them, communicating with them, making sure that they know that they're supported, and also for you making sure that you know what's happening and you can catch mistakes before they become a problem. So having those processes in place, those templates, those trackers, those regular check-ins, it's really going to help you stay in control of your operations, see what's happening, catch things before it becomes too late, plan for big events, provide feedback to your staff as things are happening. And that's really going to help you feel, like you are running a smooth selling ship. So these are really the strategies that we've implemented with our tennis directors and our sports academy directors to organize and manage the business sides of the operations efficiently so that they can reduce the admin work by 80% and increase the revenues by 20, 75, 339%. I mean, it's been really positive being able to put those processes in place. I know it might be quite a bit, but when we implement them, we have a great process to do that, and it helps our directors really get that work off their plate and have somebody do a lot of that work for them in a very professional, passionate way. So, just a quick recap here. The 5 strategies that we use to cut administrative time by 80% and increase your revenues by 20 to 75% are the 3 Ps, which are your people, process, and programs. And it helps you understand who does what, when, and how. And then we move to our strategic delegation of admin tasks, where we show you how to progressively delegate your admin work to an assistant so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. And then we have targeted staff training, where we show you how to train your staff in a progressive manner so that they can take that work off your plate and be successful uh, at doing the things that you normally do. We also talked about upselling for maximum growth, where we discussed upselling techniques that you can have your coaches and your admin implement to sell more of your services, your private lessons, your camp. And it's just a matter of training people to do it systematically and consistently. And then at number 5, which was very much a recap of a lot of the strategies that we've talked about, is how to easily maintain control of your operations, which would be things such as your daily reviews, weekly, your end of the day report, end of the week, your different meetings. And those will be great ways to make sure that you see things, you catch things, you help your admin, your staff stay motivated, and they know that you are on top of things. So, if you are a tennis academy, a sports academy director, and you are overwhelmed with work and you feel that the business side of your operation needs to be streamlined better, I recommend going below this video and booking a call to speak with our team. During this free discovery call, we can learn about your business, your challenges, your goals, and see if our strategies are a good fit for you. If you're unhappy or overwhelmed with how you run your academy, go ahead and book a call. You have nothing to lose, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Now, we have some bonus tips here, which will be the 5 benefits of an efficient academy registration software and the things that you should be looking for when you're trying to select one for your academy. So let's dig into that. When you're offering your classes and you want people to book uh, fast, to book and pay really quickly, we highly encourage you to step away from paper, PDF forms, Google Form, Jot forms, and form site, and just any type of basic form. Those forms are not a system, meaning they're not an automated system that organizes your rosters, tracks your payments, organizes attendance, court assignments. Those are just better than PDF, but it still requires work for you to collect the information on the form, and then you probably have to track all those different um, systems, that all those different items that we mentioned earlier. You're going to have to track that manually if you're using a form. So what we recommend is you want to look for an academy management software or a registration software, and to make sure that it can automate your bookings, your payments, your roster creations, report, so that you don't have to spend the time chasing payments, reconciling payments with registration, and things like that. The second thing is you also want to make sure that it can easily give credits to your clients. So instead of giving refunds, you want the system to easily give credits, like store credit, so that the money stays with you. And then you want to automate your client communication so you're not responding to emails at all hours in order to confirm basic information. Some information should really just be on your website, easily accessible, so that you don't have to spend time, just repeating the same information over and over. The next thing is you want to automate your attendance and progress notes so that you always know who's coming, when, and if you have room for makeup. And then finally, you want that system to be able to automate your financial reporting so you can quickly know how much money each class or each program or each month has been generating. So those are overall the 5 tips that you want to be looking at when you're looking for a registration software. So let's go ahead and get into the details. When it comes to allowing for booking for season classes or drop-in, you want to make it super, super easy for your parents to find and book what they're looking for. Typically, you want that checkout process to be in less than 1 minute. And so that's fast, and that's how fast and how easy it should be. Some studies have shown that parents would rather book online without talking to anybody. So they just want to go in, find what they want, book, and pay. And I mean, I think we're all about the same way. If I can do it without having to talk to anybody, that's what I would prefer to do, especially again in the age of Amazon shopping, online shopping. We're so used to just doing that really quickly. On top of that, another study found that our own study actually, we found that 40% of the registrations were happening between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 a.m., which is technically after business hours. So parents are booking when you're not there, and that's exactly what you want them to do. So you want to allow them to do so really quickly, like I mentioned earlier, in about 1 minute. And again, to find everything that they want, being able to book multiple kids at the same time to redeem discounts and things like that. So if, let's say, your parent is booking for a Monday beginner class, you want that information, right? You want the parents to go in, see the class, the Monday beginner class, book the class, and then you want that kid information to be automatically populated into the roster and the reports so that you can take attendance. Also, because the payment was received, that will also be tracked in the payment history of the child. So you also want that email confirmation to be sent right away. And so all these different pieces of your academy management functions are populated right after the parents books right after the parent books for those classes, so you don't have to go and do all kinds of other crazy Excel spreadsheet to track what's happening. So that's really what we mean by an automated registration software, which again, forms like Google Forms, Jot Forms, they do not provide, so they are not fully automated. You also want the service that you want to make it easy for you to offer both season classes and drop-ins. So if somebody wants to book just for a few days, if you offer that, you want to make it easy for people to do that as well. All right, let's go to tip number 2, which is handling refunds with credit instead of paying cash. Here, a Shopify study found out that offering a store credit is one way you can avoid losing revenue to refunds, and it helps turn those transactions into exchanges instead. So that means for those of you who give refunds, a lot of tennis directors don't, but some people do. But sometimes it happens if you have rain cancellations and things like that. You might want to consider doing that, especially if you don't have room for makeup. So instead of actually refunding the money back, you can put a credit on file for them. So you put money available so that they can use it when they book something else with you. And if they don't use it, the money stays with you. So it really actually encourages them to come back, hopefully, and use the credit that they have on file, which is quite amazing. So again, you want the system that you're looking at to make it easy for you to do that and to track it for each student, and then for all your students as a whole. All right. Tip number 3, you want to automatically remind parents when the classes start. So you want your system to be able to do that. So if you create a class that is supposed to start on June 1st, maybe 3 days before, you want your system to say, hey, you're receiving this message because you're booked into this class. It's starting, on Monday, June 1st. Please bring this. So you want that system to make that communication a little bit easier for you. And then also, if you have to email just a particular set of classes or text them, you also want that communication to be a lot faster. You don't want to have to dig through different lists to find the emails and the phone numbers. You want to be able to go into the system and say, okay, I want to contact my Monday class because I need to cancel the class. You want to go in and easily do that. So you want that communication to be very easy with the system that you're looking at. So that's another thing to watch for. Tip number 4, you want to make it easy for your coaches to track attendance and share progress with the parents here. So communication with parents, with students is extremely important. It builds good relationship. It builds bonds with your business. So you want to make it easy for your coaches to have that communication done. So whatever system you're considering, make sure it's easy to track attendance and also leave notes for the parents to know how the kid did on that particular day, or if they were not there, to maybe leave a note that they were sick or out of town. So make sure that that function is readily available, because it's very useful, especially if you do later on, you do makeups and credits and the parent is arguing how many times they were absent or present. You want to be able to easily go back to your system and check the records. So that's another big one to look for. And let's move on to our tip number 5, which is to keep your financials organized with easy reports. So within a minute, can you tell how much money you have made so far? How much you have refunded? How much people owe you? You want a system that can quickly tell you, hey, this is how much I'm making, and This is the list of the people who still owe me. Hopefully that list is very short, but you want to be able to quickly find that information and then invoice them, right? You want to be able to pull your monthlies, like how much money did I make last month? What about this season compared to last season? How did I do? How many kids did I have? Um, how much money did I make? So if you see that one season was significantly better than the next, then you want to figure out, what did we do? Was it because of things inside my control, like, maybe promoting better or getting more coaches? Or was it because of things that were outside of my control, like maybe another academy went out of business and you picked up all their students? So, but looking at those numbers easily and then start asking questions: what is that I'm doing well? How can I do it again? Or what is that I'm not doing so well? And how can I fix it? So having the data to support what you feel or what you see, and having that data easily available, is really, really important. So how do you find that right system for your business? Well, first, you want to make sure that you identify all those features. And when you have done that, you want to make sure that the system is very easy to use, push button easy, because you don't want something that's going to take you too much time to learn and implement. So you want it to be easy for you and easy for your parents. You also want to make sure that the system is flexible, because some clients, we have some clients that offer classes monthly, and then they're switching maybe to a seasonal classes. So you want the system to be able to adapt to that. You want to be able to offer drop-ins or not. So you want to make sure, again, that system is it's very flexible to allow you to change your format if you need to, and support that very seamlessly. You also want it to be well organized, so that when your parents go to your registration site, they can easily find what they're looking for, see all the information they need without contacting you, and they can book and pay. And that's really golden. Like, let's just sit and see the money come in, right? Without having to answer so many emails and phone calls, as much as we can avoid, of course. So you also want, again, that system to be able to communicate easily, whether it's via text messages or email. You want that to go through the system pretty easily. I mentioned earlier being able to cancel classes if it's raining, right? You want to be able to quickly get on your phone, send that email or that text message to all the parents of the students in the class, or all the students in the class if it's an adult class. So again, that's the kind of functionalities you're looking for. And then obviously you want to be able to process credit easy, and refunds if you need to. And you want to look for automation. So you want a system where you put one piece of information and you populate a bunch of other reports and trackers and things like that. So looking for that automation, it's super important. That's really going to help you save on admin work, minimize errors, and just kind of help you run your business a smoothly, as much as you can help it. So obviously our system, Timmy, does all of that very well. It makes you easy to automate your registrations, increase your revenues, provide discounts as incentives for booking. But yeah, obviously there are other systems out there that you can look at. The point is, you want it to be easy, automated, minimal work to do to make it work. So that's really what you're looking for. So what is next? I know this was quite long, but I'm happy to discuss this information with you. But if you found any of this information useful, you can always schedule your free strategy call, where we can discuss how you operate right now, see what are some of your challenges, what are some of the things that you do well, and how do we boost that up. And then just see, the bottlenecks that you have, and how we can help you reduce that admin work, kind of get through those bottlenecks, and really help you grow your revenues, while you're reducing your administrative work, so that you can actually focus on more strategic things of your business. We want you to focus on big things like new location, new coaches, new classes, things like that. We don't want you worried about responding to emails and phone calls and moving a kid from one class to another. So, yeah, so go ahead, book a call, see how we can help you. That's exactly what we do. We help tennis academies, sports academies reduce their administrative work by 80%, increase their revenues by 20 to 75% or more. Yeah, so I know your time is priceless and your clients are so precious. So if this remotely interests you, go ahead and book a call below and see if we can take some of that workload off your plate to delight your client, delight you, and really help you get to that next stage of growth for your business. So it's a free call, no obligation. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. Go ahead, book a call. Other than that, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon. Take care.